Hello and welcome to 15-minute gamer. This is 15 minutes with 15-minute gamer. That's a lot of 15 minutes in there. This is a brand new series and feature to my channel. It's going to be once a week, and we're going to talk about something that interests me in the gaming media. So up to date is Steam. We had big news from Steam yesterday, and I want to bring you in to talk about it. And I was going to cover early access anyway this week, so it kind of ties in. So as you can see, 15 minutes, counting down now. I've wasted 20 seconds already. That is not a good thing. So this week, Steam have announced something. I know, it'll be surprising, isn't it, when they announce things. Usually they announce things that are going to benefit them. They go, look at this great idea, we're amazing, this is going to be great. And everyone in the game community goes, well, you could do it that way. That would be a lot better. And they go, nah, gonna do it this way. So basically this time, if you don't use Steam, you probably won't have a clue what I'm talking about. It is a PC... What's the best way to describe it? A storefront for gaming. I have 490 games almost on there now. I love it. It has sales on. It has early access titles on. It has cheap games going. It has everything. Like, you can pick up so many games, and so many games appear on it. But this isn't a good thing. Last year, something like 4,000 games appeared on Steam. Over 4,000 games. Now, just when you go back and look at the PlayStation, how many games came on the PlayStation last year? I don't know. Maybe about 300 or 400. 10 times as many. And to be fair, a lot of them are a boatload of rubbish. And it's because Steam doesn't have a quality control as such for games, so you can literally put any old rubbish on there, and there is a lot. And where one of these things came from, and it was a great idea when it first came out, but it just doesn't work in principle, is Steam Greenlight. What the whole point of this was, and you know, this has been out for a while now, was you would submit your game to Steam Greenlight, the community would go, ooh, I like that, vote for it, so they could vote yes or no to allowing it to go on the store. If it was voted yes, it would then be allowed to go onto the storefront. If it was voted no, it wouldn't. So you might be thinking, that's a great idea, how could that go wrong? My God, did it go wrong. Basically, you pay around about $100, or about £75 I think it was at the time, and you could use Steam Greenlight. It's quite hard to say in one mouthful. So what you could do is basically pay that £75 once and upload as much rubbish as you wanted. So if you wanted to pay £75, and this is no word of a lie, I've seen a game called Clicker Simulator where you click the word click, like Cookie Clicker, over and over and over again, and that's all you do. I've seen games where there's a toilet and you just go over the top of it. I've seen terrible, terrible games on this thing. This Steam Greenlight has a lot to answer for in how much rubbish comes onto Steam. So, the idea was good. Implementation wasn't, because you had people buying votes. So those companies set up, which would, if you signed up to them, make sure you got votes on your games and stuff like that. There was a massive shady practice going around it. And if you go to Jim Sterling, he's one of my favorite YouTubers, he has covered this so many times. So basically what Steam has said now is, from the spring, they're going to have something called Steam Direct. This basically means that it will enable developers to get their games on Steam without, big word, having to pass an approval process first. So this will allow you, once you pay, to put anything on Steam. Nothing to stop you. You could put anything you wanted on. No quality control at all. Now, when I first read this, I was kind of like, really? That sounds terrible. That's a really bad idea. However, the more I read into it, the better I think it was, and I'll tell you kind of why. So, the $75 just meant you could upload as much as you wanted, right? This is going to carry, and I haven't said yet, a fee of between $100 and $5,000 per game. And they talk a little bit about maybe it'll depend on how well it sells to how much you pay. But that is per game. So you cannot spam the store, unless if you're very rich, with loads and loads and loads of rubbish. Because if you're just making a load of rubbish to make a quick buck in the background, are you going to risk spending $500, $600, $700 to take that risk just to try and be a bit funny and get something on the game store? Probably not. So where it's going to go is people who really believe in their game is going to make money. Then people who really believe that what they've got is something special. And those who believe that they're going to do something with their lives, and this is, they want to make a full-time job, they want to get it out there. So there's two really big arguments here. One is, if someone asked me to give $500 to $1,000 to get my game on the store, and I'm a tiny little guy creating games in my bedroom who loves gaming but has to hold a full-time job, has to get kids and wife and so forth, and then if he asks for $500 to try and get my game on Steam, that unfortunately is going to lose a few people. There's going to be a few people lost along the way on this process, is the only kind of negative I can see. Well, there's a couple of negatives, but one of the biggest ones is you might get that little developer who just hasn't got $500 to $1,000 or whatever to spend on on the Steam Direct store, because it is a lot of money. And I mean, if you believe in your project, yeah, you'll find some way to get the money, a bank loan, you'll use your credit card, something like that. So you will find a way. But I can see a few developers being put off this. It should, in theory, clear up a lot of the rubbish that is going on the Steam store as well. I'm hoping that instead of every time I load my storefront up just being presented with row after row of terrible looking cheap ass games, that why would I touch or buy them, or many people would touch or buy them, just because the guys just have to pay 75 quid or whatever to get on. So I'm hoping that instead of the developers should see it as, instead of trying to get your game out into a bloated marketplace with a boatload of rubbish everywhere, yes, you might have to invest that little bit more, but you're not going to be surrounded by all this rubbish. Your game's going to stand out if you can get it on there. People are going to go, wow, that person's put a lot of effort. It's like anything in life. It's like when you do YouTube. You need to invest in yourself as a YouTuber to make it on YouTube. Millions of people can YouTube. Every Xbox player can do it. Every PlayStation player can do it. All you got to do is press a button, and you're straight away able to get your content on Twitch, on YouTube. There's nothing to stop you at all. But there's been channels I've seen where people have recorded their screen with like their phone, or have a terrible mic, or the editing is awful because they just don't bother editing, so you got long gaps everywhere where they've not been speaking properly or at the beginning. It's kind of things like that it's the same sort of point. Once you invest in the better equipment, once you invest in a good editing software, once you invest in a good microphone, a decent PC or whatever, so you can run the better games, people are going to come to you because you're doing a better quality product. So it's the same as this game developer. If you invest in your game, and you invest for the right tools, you invest for the right reasons, and you're putting this $500 towards putting your item on the Valve Steam store, people are more likely going to go, yeah, okay, I can see that. I'm going to give that guy a chance. I'm going to go on him. I'm going to buy his game or whatever, because that investment's there. You're going to spend more time making the game a bit more complete before you put it on there. You're going to spend time putting better trailers up and screenshots. You're not just going to put any old rubbish up, because it's now a bit of a financial risk on your part as well, rather than just paying $75 and go, there you go, and putting it up. So I can see it from that way. And it's going to be up to them to get the community behind them and start selling the game before they just shove it up on here as well. And I, for one, I'm kind of looking forward to this coming up, and I just hope that it doesn't put too many developers off. And Steam is that place where you hit a massive market at all times. And especially with someone like me, I have a lot of games on Steam, as I was saying before, so it's my primary storefront. I'm looking to be a PC gamer, and I've got a fairly decent PC, so I can run these games, and I can play these games. I can afford to, not always, but I can usually afford to get these games in as well, you know, so it's just something I can do, and I love PC game. But if I go on the storefront right now, like I am, first game that comes up on here, and this is no word of a lie, it's called Bloody Boobs. And it's a game where it looks like a dungeon crawl, where it's some woman with big boobs and sort of getting killed by the looks of it. There's a game called We Are Chicago, which kind of looks like sort of Mass Effect sort of weird game. Bleeds 2, which is some sort of shoot 'em up. Battle of Talaran Iron Edition, never heard of it. Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, which seems to be some sort of game from ages ago, which I was checking out because I was thinking about buying it for £4.79. Knights of Azure. So there's a couple of Japanese RPGs, a new survival game, which I was going to pick up but haven't yet, and Soda Dungeon as well, which is free to play. So, and that's not all, that's just popular new releases. If I click on new releases, just everyone, you've got Uncompromising Trash, you've got Inner Silence, Diffuser VR, Wells Demo, Trump Simulator 2017, My Super Tower 1, which is DLC apparently, 28 Waves Later, Tomato Jones Demo, Outbreak, whatever that is, Cavern of Time, Dash Fleet, Seclusion, Western 1849 Reloaded. This is over 2 days. This is just 2 days. Faraway Islands, Block King, Ultramangus, Rogues Like Us, Way Out 2, Hex, Incorp Inc. We're still only on the second day. Ultimate Russian Zombie Rush, Zombie Balls, The Source of Evil, Heavy Gear Assault, 8-Bit Armies, High Stakes Campaign DLC, more DLC, The Safeguard Garrison, Surface, Fission Planet, Bloody Boobs, Starmerk. It's still going. Anyway, I'm still going on. There's no word of lie, about 30 things down is where we get onto the 9th. That is how much rubbish appears on Steam every day. And if this program can just stop some of that rubbish, I will be very, very happy with that. I'll be cheering that and enjoying it. And if I can go on my storefront and not be presented with a load of rubbish, I'll be the most happy person in the world. So, that is Steam Direct, and that's a big change for Steam, getting rid of Greenlight, which was supposed to be their little baby. But, you know, I think there's a lot of games on Greenlight. I don't know how many it is exactly. It does actually tell you on the front page, so I'm just clicking on there now. I mean, I've voted for 676 items, but Greenlight's been going for a while now, and 4,145 games have been released, and 5,428 have been greenlit, and I've voted for 676. Mainly, I tend to go nah, things like that, because, you know, a lot of them look just totally rubbish. But if you're a PC gamer, you're going to know what I'm talking about anyway. And I have seen games creeping onto the PlayStation Network that haven't been quality controlled, and that worries me that the PlayStation's going to be the next place for this. So keep an eye out on that. I have 1 minute 44 left. That is it. So we're not going to get into early access today. That's going to have to be for a different podcast. But I am hoping to bring an early access developer in for that one. So that could be really interesting. If you want to come on this podcast and take part, discuss, talk about your channel, talk about your games, talk about whatever, just 15 minutes of time, come on to Twitter at 15minutegamer and talk to me. You can just drop me a message on there or leave a comment below and we'll get chatting about that. You know, come on, this is all about the community. You know, I'm going big on community this year. The Spotlight series has started. That starts tonight on Sunday night, because it can be every single Sunday. This podcast will generally go up over the weekend on a Saturday, probably on the Saturday afternoon. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making it. There's a lot of discussions to start there and a lot of things I'm passionate about in gaming. So I think this is the way to talk about it. And by the way, the person who designed this background, Rachel Lennox, she's on Twitter, very kindly said, I can make you one of them. And let me know what you think of the background. I quite like it. I'm just working on what best way to do it. It's just so you've got something to look at when I'm talking, because you might be watching this on YouTube. And who doesn't want a background clock counting down the background when you're watching it? And I was even thinking about maybe putting these in my videos in the top corner for the 15 minutes, because, you know, my videos are supposed to be 15 minutes. even though whenever they reach 15 minutes, I don't know. I'm trying to cut down to 20. I haven't quite made 50 yet, but never mind. So yes, remember Spotlight Series, check it out. Check the podcast out if you want to come on. Drop me a message. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will literally catch you all next week for another 15 minutes with 15-minute gamer. Enough talk for 15 minutes. Yeah. Good conversation. I enjoyed it, and I'm sure there'll be more coverage of Steam in the future. And I'll see you all later. Goodbye.